Hey everyone, Tekking101 here, here to do my first Toriko manga review. Alright, so let's get right into it. Surprise! Yeah, it scared the crap out of me the first time I saw it, so there you go. Let me introduce you to your nightmare for the next week. Ugh. Yeah, so anyway, Komatsu makes a visit to Toriko's house, and actually we can actually see that Toriko built a little doghouse for Terry. That's kind of nice. But then he opens the door and makes that horrible face that let's never see again. Okay, so anyway, Komatsu obviously freaks out and, states, why'd you make that expression? Are you trying to surprise something? And Toriko's like, actually, yes, I'm practicing to surprise the surprise apple. Yeah. And that's the title of the chapter, by the way, chapter 146, Surprise Apple. So, yeah, it's an interesting ingredient, and we'll get into that further. But so then they head off onto this boat with Tom, who we haven't seen in a while, but, the boatman, obviously. So they head off to this island, and Toriko gives a little, explanation of what a surprise apple is. A surprise apple is an apple that gets tastier the more you scare it. Yeah, really interesting ingredients. So, yeah, they're heading off to this island where it's being cultivated because I guess the IGO got some seeds a little while back, and they're trying to cultivate it because I think normally it's only found in the gourmet world. I think that's what he says. No, he doesn't say it's in the gourmet world. He just says that it's really rare to show up on market. But anyway, yeah, so they're heading to this island, and apparently it originally came from this, Battle Island. That's right, Battle Island, the place where Rin's battle fragrance came from. The stuff she used that make animals like really, angry. That's the island that it came from. So then they get off the boat and go into the surprise farm, which there's a bunch of explosions being set off, a bunch of Bashokiyas are there, including Zongi. He's also there too. He gets, he's all boasting. Yeah, that's a common thing for him, where wherever he is, no matter where it is, he always boasts that he's going to be the best or capture the ingredient first, and then, something happens in a comic relief moment. In this case, it's Terry scaring the crap out of him, or piss out of him. So, welly put. But anyway, yeah, so, that happens. They go further into the farm. Okay, so then one of the Gourmet 7 shows up. Those are the people with, like, the really good sense of taste. Like, one of them, I think his name was Mr. Patch. He showed up when Komatsu finished the Century Soup, and he's the one that, raised the hotel from 5-star to 6-star. Another one shows up. His name's Apapon, whatever how you want to pronounce that. And his gimmick is he talks in these really weird, like, elongated words. Like, I think we have some contenders this year to look forward. See, he talks in these really elongated, phrases, which I'm not really sure about, but whatever. So, yeah. So that happens. Then we actually get to see a surprise apple. And oh god, is it creepy, Like, I can't, like, here's the thing with that. I mean, they have eyes, they have mouths, and they scream. But they have the body of an apple. Now here's my question. If you scare something like this, it makes it tastier, but it doesn't matter how tasty it is, you still have to eat something with a mouth and eyes and a human face. And it's screaming while you're doing this. So, that would be a little sadistic, in my book, to eat something that has an eyes and face, like, just take, like, one bite into it. It would be kind of creepy. Whatever. So, Toriko, he comes up to an apple, then he pulls out the amplifier stone he got from Milk the First. That thing that he used to amplify his voice. I think he got it from I think it was called a rock condor or whatever. But anyway, yeah, it's used to amplify your voice. And Toriko shouts into it, and it creates, like, this huge freaking shockwave that scares the living crap out of this apple. And Alpapa, I'm gonna mess up his name like a bunch of times right now. I'm just warning you. So he picks it up, and he says it's a surprise level 27. And then they show this little graph, which is actually kind of interesting, about the certain levels of the surprise apple and how they can become more, and what's the level of surprise for each individual thing. Like shooting a gun, that's 0. Firing a bazooka is, like, I think in the 30s. So yeah, like that. The favorite expression is the surprise apple, not when it's surprised, but when it's just, mellow, like when it's calm. I actually find that more amusing than the actual, expression when it's surprised. Okay, so this other person shows up. Her name's Surara Mama, who's apparently the owner of this pub somewhere, this really famous pub. She's apparently like one of the top 50 chefs in the world, and she used to be at the Bishoki, according to Komatsu. But yeah, she shows up to pick 2 or 3 and apples. So she walks up to one and just, she gets a level, I think, 20 just by, threatening it, just basically saying, I'm gonna, ripen you and then use you as varnish for my, tables, and that scares the living crap out of it. That gets a level 20. Which is another thing. Apparently the apples can understand us. So yeah, this is by far the weirdest ingredient in Toriko, and that's going on record. That's they had freaking what was that other one that was really messed up? It was an ingredient that, or was it an animal? I don't know what it was. It was something really freaky looking. I know that's really vague considering how big how many creatures are in this place that are weird, but I don't know. Oh, the wicked beanstalk. That's what I'm talking about. The bean. You know how the beanstalk and they were climbing the vine to ozone herb, and the freaking beanstalk turned into like a demonic thing. They grew teeth and shit. That was creepy. That was messed up. But this is creepier. This is creepier. So then Toriko approaches another apple. This time he's going to use power. He's going to use his 17 hit, which kind of surprised he was able to use that. Outside, kind of overkill for an apple. First of all, I mean, it's just a freaking apple. I mean, I understand you're trying to scare it, but the first time I saw that, I'm like, it's just going to blow the apple away, isn't it? And that's actually what happens. He pulls too many punches and he blows up the apple. So yeah, first of all, I didn't think he could use 17 hit unless he was in that autography state anymore. But apparently he can. And I think he gets level 50 before the apple explodes. But yeah. So then there's that. Then Komatsu, this is funny. Yeah, Komatsu tries scaring it. And of course it doesn't work. Because apparently, according to that graph, if you shoot a gun, that's a 0. So anything lower than like a bazooka, or like I think it's an automatic machine gun, anything lower than that won't scare it. So yeah, these are some pretty stoic apples. So Komatsu tries scaring it. Apple gives him the most blandest expression ever. Then Terry shows up, does the creepy face number, like the second most creepiest face in the chapter, and that's saying something. I'm going to have a lot of still shots in this video, let me tell you that, just to show you half of these expressions. But yeah, Terry scares it. I think it gets a level 50 as well. Sorry if I have to keep bending down, but there's a lot of dialogue in this chapter. There's a lot of, methods of how it's done. Yeah, no, level 40 for Terry. Yeah, so, yeah, there's that. And then, okay, and after all those shenanigans, funny word, shenanigans, so then later, I guess they captured a couple apples, then Toriko comes up to the Gourmet 7 guy, and he's like, what's the highest level, ever recorded? Because according to the graph, a level 100 is like the end of the world. So, yeah, if the end of the world happened and someone managed to stay alive and save an apple, got some pretty tasty stuff right there. Yeah, like, the world's ending, we have to go find an apple. Whatever. So he asked him what the highest level is. And apparently the highest level ever recorded was the IGO Ichiru, the president of IGO. He got a 95, and Naki Master Jiro got a 92. Which, and actually a scary face because, Komatsu says, that face would be scary because he actually saw it back when he died in the Puffer Whale saga. So there's that, he tells them that, and he also says that there's some information on someone from the Bishoku Kai, who's most likely Midara. I think that's the boss's name. I think they revealed that a couple chapters ago. Midara, he got something in the 90s, but they don't mention an exact number. Then Toriko states he needs to get some in the 70s and 80s, which is weird because I thought he would go for the 90s and stopping in the 80s, whatever. So, that's it for that. And then I would call it the climax of the chapter. It messes up the original Toriko formula, I'll tell you that. The Gourmet 7 guy comes across an apple, and it's scared so much, it's like in the 80s. So, and he freaks out, and he's like looking in the crowd, he's like, who could possibly, is there someone here from the Bishoku Kai who could have done this? But no, that's quickly dashed, because it turns out it's just Zongi who got really upset about not scaring the apples and just farting on them, and that created the, level 80 surprise factor there. So that was kind of a, that screwed up the formula, though, how this works. I've been reading Toriko since, like, the Ice Hell arc, I think. Yeah, Ice Hell arc. And every past instance since then, You know, it's basically, you know, Toriko or Komatsu sees something at the end of the chapter, like a footprint, and that alludes later to the existence of a nitro being where they are. Like, for example, Toriko sees a footprint, there's a nitro. Komatsu sees a footprint, there's a nitro. You know, so that's what I thought it was. I thought there was like a nitro on the island and scared the apple. I mean, this isn't creepy to you? Not as much as this. But, you know, it's up there, so yeah. So yeah, that's the end of Toriko chapter 146. Pretty good, better than last time, because the last chapter was just, I don't know, it's just a lot of dialogue and no action, pretty much. I mean, in here there's not a lot of action, but we had, you know, Toriko pull off a couple moves. A lot of the faces were pretty cool to see, but yeah, that's the end of the chapter. And the little blip for the next chapter is something else I don't get. Hold on. Pull up the face here. My laptop is slow as... Okay. Yeah, like the blip for the chapter is like, what's the next amazing ingredient Toriko wants? Does that mean like they're gonna go to a whole different, you know, ingredient? Or are they still sticking with the apples? Because, you know, Toriko did collect some apples, but he didn't collect any in like the 80s or 90s. You know? So, yeah, question there. I mean, we already started this new arc, and I thought that would be like his salad dish. So, yeah, I mean... whatever. Okay, so that's the end of my review, and I am really hungry for an apple now. So, yeah. Tekking101 signing out. I ate the sticker. Crap.